Welcome to the Nextlane Video Blog Inside the Ecosystem. In this series, our experts at Nextlane, along with our customers and our partners, in addition to key industry voices in the automotive sector, explore the network effects transforming automotive retail today, where dealers, OEMs, and technology partners are operating increasingly in a connected way that unlocks smarter data, faster innovation, and new ways of working together. Today I have the pleasure, as we kick off this series, of being joined by our CEO, Hartmut Wagner. Welcome, Hartmut.
Thanks for having me, Jenna.
You're
nice
welcome.
to be here.
Thank you. Hey, Hartmut, over the past few years, you've been leading Nextlane's evolution toward a more connected platform strategy. Your background is deeply rooted in enterprise technology, including cloud platforms, SaaS, analytics, ERP, automation, which brings a very important perspective to the transformation currently underway in automotive retail. So again, thank you for joining us, and we will get started. Okay, so first question for you today. Dealerships operate with an enormous amount of systems, right? DMS platforms, CRM providers, finance integrations, marketplaces, etc. So at the same time, I think what we all see more and more is we're hearing more about layering on AI, right?
Yeah.
But I think what the question becomes today for most of us is, and I'm curious to get your perspective, is the industry actually as digitally mature as it appears? Like, are we ready for the shift to AI?
Yeah, is the industry ready for AI, and is it really mature enough? I think that's a great question. And when you look at what's going on in the markets, you see a lot of buzz, a lot of new things coming, and a lot of it is driven by companies like us, right? The software technology, the cloud technology, the tech vendors. But in automotive, I think you have to really look at, okay, how's this industry going, where it's coming from? And automotive in general, especially in Europe, is quite traditional, quite conservative. And they have been building systems for many, many years. So they started probably in the 70s, 80s, right, with the first PCs. They started with some first Unix system, departmental systems. And then they started just to buy product, one product after the other product. And what we can see is that today, 10, 20, 30 years later, they still use the same products. And any innovation, any change even of a single screen or so is sometimes getting pushed back because users say, look, I'm used to this, don't touch it. Yeah. So very often we see a gap between what we think and maybe what senior management of these dealer groups wants to do and makes sense to embrace technology trends versus what the users and the people doing it, working it every single day really would accept. And this is an interesting challenge. So you can say it's sort of fragmented applications. It's non-connected systems. And obviously you have different architectures. Like an 80s architecture was like all around client server. An early 2000 architecture was all around first online systems. Internet was just there. And today's architecture is open cloud. And these are massive developments, massive breaks, and to combine all of this to apply and leverage AI is not as easy as it looks like.
That's definitely fair. And I think that's a lot of the conversation that we have today, as most of companies that are SaaS first or SaaS native are now attempting to move into an AI first mode, right?
Exactly, absolutely, yes.
So when we speak with dealers across Europe, many say their biggest challenge today is definitely not buying more software, right? It's managing the complexity and performance of the tools they already have as they bring in new tools, new features, and potentially AI, right? So what do you see as the main underlying structural problem?
Right, it's a good question to see. Is there an underlying structural problem? I think yes, there is, definitely. Because what you see is that the expectations are rising a lot. So if you are running a dealership, second, third generation, you have a great university degree, you have a great overall education, and you really want to run your company, your dealership, and make it ready for the future. So you have an absolute interest in understanding the data and turning the data into information. So most of these CEOs, CIOs, they never really use the applications that their teams are using. They just want to have AI, BI applications on top of, so they see the big pictures. However, to get there is super difficult because we have isolated systems, we have not real strong integrations between the systems. And then when you look at the data, which at the end, the thing where you drive real value from, right? It's not consistent, it's not properly protected. So it's really hard to apply new trends, new applications on top of all of that to get true value out of it.
That's totally fair. And I think what we see even within technology companies themselves is that we expect the dashboards to show the reality, when the truth is that the leakage and the different issues regarding systems not playing nicely with one another, and they're built in different times, et cetera, purchased at different times, adopted in different ways, different leaders, et cetera, is just creating a lot of chaos.
Absolutely, it does. And when you look at our customers, they go from very small dealerships, like with a few employees, all the way up to leading dealership groups in Europe with 10, 20,000 and more employees. These are true enterprises. So the state where they are is also very, very different.
Yeah, very fair. Good perspective, and thank you. At Nextlane, over the last few years, and really since you've joined, we've been moving into a vision that we know well internally, and we want to talk about this a bit more. Open, secure, smart, right? 3 big yet common, easy words, but when we put them together, they have a lot of powerful meaning. So what does that concept represent in practical and non-technical term for dealers?
Yeah, let's talk about open, secured, and smart. And you're right. I mean, we really defined it in a very easy way. So there is no misunderstanding. It stands for itself and is super clear. Open, when you look at the automotive industry from a technology perspective, and you want to help the industry overall to transform into a successful future where you can leverage latest technology trends, where you empower them to really turn data into value, into information to make smarter, better decisions, not just for today, but for tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. It's important that you help them to create an open ecosystem, an open landscape of applications, tools that they can easily benefit and consume to really drive value, to assure that they can run their business better. So we clearly said, look, we are very strong in building a cloud platform. We have a growing ecosystem, and we invite everybody in the market to be part of this ecosystem. Customers, dealers, agents, OEMs, and we also invite any kind of software vendors to this. So friends, competitors, whenever we feel there's an incremental value for the dealer landscape across Europe, we are happy to welcome the business, to connect, to integrate, and to provide joint solutions. This is what we believe is a core element to help the dealerships across Europe to be smart and to really drive success, not just today in the short term, but in the long term.
That makes a ton of sense. And then also, I think one of the beautiful things of this is that it means regardless of what your tech stack looks like as a dealer, it doesn't really matter. You can plug into the Nextlane ecosystem in any way.
Yes.
If you gain value from, leveraging a cloud solution, if you gain value from our CRM, if you gain value from our DMS, it doesn't matter what your exact tech stack looks like. It means that, we're open to leveraging the API for all, right?
That's exactly the point. So the complexity is on our side. In the background, we want to make it as easy as possible for them to consume the value they need to run their business better.
Yeah.
Yes.
No blockers. That's good. We like that. We like that.
Absolutely. So let's talk about secure, because it's great to have an open platform, an open ecosystem. But in these days, where we live in a context of economic uncertainty, where we have a very intense political environment, a lot of transformation in the industry itself, security is just the key. This is why Nextlane, we call it security is job number 0. Not number 1, really number 0. So it's the underlying element, the foundation, to assure that whatever customers, partners do together with us in our software and applications is secured. And this is an area where we cannot allow a single level of risk, because one little risk might be one risk too much. So we have to be super clean on this. And this is also why we selected AWS as our strategic platform partner, because we think they are market leading on a global basis on that element. And we do the best in the way how we develop product, sell product, and implement products and solutions to have like an ongoing end-to-end security awareness in the business.
Absolutely. Job number 0. There's no debate.
Exactly. It's super clear, isn't it? And then, but smart, right? Smart, we selected smart literally as a placeholder for everything that turns data into information. You could say 1 or 2 years ago, it was very much on the BI side, business intelligence. And since then, it has been becoming more and more, obviously, AI, artificial intelligence. And as we know, this is such a fast going trend, transforming industry, transforming the way how people think, people act, decisions, and so on. We said that it is our job to literally provide the right level of smartness across the ecosystem. Again, another reason why we partner with AWS to leverage all the really heavy lifting they do on AI in our day-to-day operation, our day-to-day delivery to customers. So we are absolutely convinced that providing value and ensuring that our customers, when they do business with each other in our ecosystem, that they can leverage the value of AI on a single day, single week, single month, again, to run their business better and to use the openness and the security we provide overall as a strong platform, as a core element to bring their business in an even better future.
That's a great summary. And I think the order of the way that you explain smart to me is it brings up an interesting question. I think a lot of the topic and the trends that we see right now around AI and like how quickly AI adoption is increasing is that maybe we missed a little bit of focus on the data platform and the data foundation first, right?
Yes, that's a good one. I mean, you know this saying, garbage in, garbage out. That's what you want to avoid.
Yeah.
And I think this AI transformation is difficult for everybody, right? Especially for many dealerships who focus on selling cars and repairing cars.
Yeah.
They're not naturally tech companies. So it's our job to really prepare and really help them and support them on this. And obviously the underlying principle of AI is right, that you have clean data. So we talk about data platforms, as you said. Yeah. And then you need to carefully decide what data you really ingest from what applications, right? And we do this in 2 directions. We do one it internally, the way we work. We ensure that the different applications with our core data are all in there so we get benefit and value in how we run our business. But we are doing the same. And a lot to come later this year, actually, where we also take some of our cloud solutions into the data platform and then can really work the data to provide AI-driven values in our products back to our customers. And this is where the dealerships will get a lot of benefit and value, not just throughout this year, but in the years to come.
Yeah, this is really exciting.
Yes, it's cool. It's super cool.
And it's happening. It's coming.
It is happening.
Yes.
It's absolutely, we are working it. We started last year.
Yeah.
We have defined this data platform. We have really defined the structure and the logic of it to be prepared, because also here it needs to be secured. It needs to be compliance with rules and legislations to ensure that whatever we offer to our dealers, they can really use and consume it with good faith, good belief that we are in line with rules, with laws, data privacy, etc.
Got it. Okay. So maybe a hard question, but I want to try. Okay.
Yes.
So if dealership software and software in general, I mean, you've been in this industry a really long time. If these have existed for decades, why are integration and data challenges still so persistent across the industry? Like the transformation's hard for all of us, right?
Oh, it is super hard. Yeah. And you are fully right. I mean, there is a challenge around this. And I think coming back to the structure of the systems, right? Everybody is excited. I mean, we all use a smartphone, right? Our customers all use a smartphone. So we are all used in our daily lives, driven by apps to use the cloud, to use AI. And we are making smart interactions and smart decisions every day, even without recognizing, because it's just normal, it's natural. And there's a gap between our private lives and company lives. Now, there are industries.
Tech we use for work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are industries that are really good in this, and probably some in the tech industry are the ones leading this. But when you look at automotive, and especially automotive in Europe, it's been, as we said, a conservative place and a traditional place, because they were really focusing on the cars, and they were focusing on making these cars better and smarter. But the dealerships especially, I think, they were not investing a lot of time and effort to predict. They literally expect partners like us to help them to embrace trends without understanding all the trends and then assuring that we provide them the right solutions.
Yeah.
However, the trick, and that is, I think, the core problem, is that systems were built in different times across different decades even, right? Driving different architectures, working with different vendors. So even if a dealership is mid-sized, they have an incredible broad portfolio of products, architecture, systems in place that they cannot easily consolidate themselves because they don't have, in most cases, own IT stuff, own IT capabilities that only exists really in the large dealer groups, probably in the top 100, 200, 500 across Europe. So the others literally need partners helping them to take the complexity and then transition it into an easy way to consume the value.
Yeah, and that's not even factoring in multi-brand, changing brands over time, the different inventory they're managing, and also one theme we hear, very consistently from the field and from, our sales leadership is that the operational efficiency of all of this, and it's highly complex, right? It sits directly on the shoulders of the dealers and the dealer operators.
It does, and you are fully right, Jenna. I mean, we're talking about challenges on the digital transformation, but obviously we have a massive automotive transformation going on, right? And while in the news, you hear a lot about the OEMs, the manufacturers, and their challenges. But this is just one side of the coin. The other side of the coin are the dealers, right? And the dealerships. And they're going from like one brand to multi-brand, going from like, okay, is it a dealer model or is it an agent model? Seeing like Chinese OEMs entering the European market. The electric vehicle challenge, right? Is it coming? You see very different speed by country, even in the EU. And
regression, and it's not linear.
Exactly. And the impact, what it means on after sales, right? There's less repair and service cycles on an electric car than it's for a traditional vehicle. And these are all questions for dealers to find answers to protect their profit, to manage the business, to drive efficiency. And this is where we expect ourselves to help them to get as smooth as possible through these transformations, the automotive transformation and the technology transformation.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Hartmut. So I think that's a really good segue into my next question, which is, do you think that the automotive industry is at that point, at that inflection point, where dealership technology begins to resemble other industries, where it's really making that large transformative shift?
It's a good question to see if the industry is ready to resample, right? From my perspective, you see that cloud, massive trend across all industries, and it's probably the latest other than AI, right? These two trends are the big trends.
Right beforehand, like hand in hand too, right?
Exactly, and these are trends after big data earlier and literally since the internet was born, let's say. Each of these trends had a big impact on the industry. Now, when you look at cloud, I think in this case, it will heavily enable and help dealers to simplify their system landscape by consuming solutions, products in a different way than before, which really goes from like, I run everything on my own, or I run some of it on my own and others in private cloud services, which literally expects me as a dealership to talk to many vendors, to still consume different way of software products and services. And the more public cloud is coming, the more it gets unified and simplified. So there's a consistent way of, I use an ERP, how I invoice, how I maybe do lead generation, CM and other things. So it will have a big impact. The second one, and this is something we should never forget, despite all complexity, is the data, right? Data models will become more consistent. And will help that if I have like one vendor or a few partners providing me these cloud solutions, that I know that the data that I produce literally every single day throughout my business is more consistent in one or a few places. So the potential I have to drive value from it, driven by AI, is going heavily up, which is great news. And there are more learnings, more insights, and they will help me to understand my business better across selling cars, new, used, but also after sales, and to then make decisions based on cost, based on profitability, etc. I think this is exactly what dealerships across Europe need these days to manage the complexity they are facing from the external markets.
Yeah. And do you think that the evolution of larger ecosystems, partner ecosystems, this will also drive further innovation and it makes everything just move faster?
Oh, absolutely it will. I mean, as we already said, right, the ecosystem that we help and we create, there's a simplified way for dealers to consume solutions, not just from Nextlane, but also from other companies. And we carefully select our partners by country. We always look for strong leaders in the specific discipline by country. So dealers can choose from a local set of best of breed products and solutions, fully integrated, easy to consume. And this is having massive value for them. So this is the moment when the ecosystem really shows its true power and potential for dealers, for OEMs, literally for everybody in the ecosystem.
Okay. And then I think just, just to sum up in the most practical takeaway, like what would you say is for anybody watching the conversation, what would you say is the most practical takeaway for dealers in terms of open, secure, smart?
You're invited to be part of the ecosystem. We make it super easy for you to run your business better. You choose what you need and we deliver.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for sharing your perspective and thank you for joining the inaugural episode of Nextlane Inside the Ecosystem.
Thank you, Jenna. Pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thanks for watching Inside the Ecosystem. If you found this valuable, stay tuned. There's more to come from the people shaping what's next in automotive retail.